Good morning, and as you can tell by the name on the bag, my name is Kata, and I recently went to the Textile Center Garage Sale. If you don't know what that is, I just learned about it recently up in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. There is a textile center, and they focus on fiber arts of all kinds, and it's a really great place. It's not very big. But they have different displays of different textile artwork, and they have reference materials, and they do a lot of classes and courses on a lot of different topics, pretty much anything related to textiles. So that can be sewing, it can be weaving, doing some loom work. There's just a whole ton of different things that they offer. And I was recently looking for places to buy fabric that wasn't $20 a yard. There's a lot of fabric that I absolutely love that it's really expensive, and when you're just learning like I am, it's really difficult and kind of stressful when you're making a new pattern or trying something new and you're using fabric that is $20 or $30 a yard. Even for me, $12 a yard just is way too expensive when I'm doing something that I'm just learning. So when I was looking, I learned that the Textile Center, a couple of times a year, holds a garage sale, basically, where people can donate any supplies that they are no longer using, and then volunteers will go through and sort through it all and get it all priced. And then usually there's a 3-day sale. The first day is usually a Friday evening. And that one you do have to pay to get in. I think I paid $35 each for my mom and I to get in, but you also get first pick. So you kind of get to go in, see everything, all the stuff is there, and you get first pick. If you don't want to do that way, on Saturday, you can get tickets, and they're usually anywhere from $2 to $5. And this year, I don't know if it's different than previous years, but this year they had it set up where you had an entry time. So if the sale started at 10, they would sell X number of tickets for 10 a.m., X number of tickets at 10:30, X number at 11 for the entire time of the sale. And most of the time it was only anywhere from 3 to 5 hours. And then on Sunday, that day was very busy for us because there's no entry fee, and then everything was half off. So anything that was left would be half off. And like I said, they try to do this a couple times a year. And this is the first year that my mom and I had both gone. We'd heard that it was a really great thing, and a lot of people recommended going the first day and then going the last day. So first day you kind of get first pick, and then the last day everything is half off, so you can usually find some pretty good deals. So we went ahead and went, and as you can see with this bag, they have a section called, it's $15 a bag. So this is the size of the bag, and anything that you can fit in here is $15, and it's a huge section. Now this is primarily apparel type fabrics. They did have a lot of upholstery fabric this year. They didn't accept upholstery fabric donations this year, I think because they had so much. But they do have some upholstery fabric. They have some silks, a lot of rayons. My mom actually got a really beautiful dark navy wool that was in there. But anything that you can fit in this bag is $15, and it's just out of that section. But again, it was a really big section. And then on Sunday, when everything was half off, this bag was only $7.50. They do say that it needs to fit in the bag, and they also say that you don't rip your bag. So that's kind of a big thing. And I just wanted to show you some of the things that I got at the garage sale. And the only thing that I kind of don't like, and I understand completely since they're remnants and donations, is you don't always know what you're going to get. Some of these are labeled. Some people labeled it, so when they donated it, it said, this is a rayon, this is about how many yards it is. But there were a lot of things that you're just guessing. So you're kind of trying to tell based on the stretch and the weave and just kind of taking a look at it. But I'm just going to show you some of the things that I picked up. So one of the items that I picked up is this fabric. I believe that this is a an athletic wear or a swimwear type of fabric. It's got a little bit of stretch here. It is a little bit see-through when it gets stretched out, but at the same time, that's okay, because you're going to be doing you can get swimsuit lining, and it's a pretty good sized piece of fabric, all things considered. So I'm kind of looking forward to trying a swimsuit pattern with this one, because I can never find swimsuits that really feel comfortable for me. I also got this fabric. Again, a lot of these I just got because I thought they were pretty. So there's a little bit of stretch. So it's really kind of a two-way stretch. This is more a mechanical type stretch. But a lot of these, it's enough, a yard or so. So it's enough to do, like a tank top or maybe a shirt is kind of what I was going for a lot of these. Again, this one is another type of stretch fabric. So just kind of a knit, little bit of four-way stretch here. This one, it was really nice. It said that it's 1 3/4 yards, and originally this was $11.99 a yard. But it was really nice because it was in the bag, so I was able to get this as part of my $15 item. My mom and I both happen to really like burgundies. Again, this one, it was nice. They said it's 46 inches wide and that it's a large piece. Some of these wind up being 1 yard to 2 yards, but this is just a woven, not a lot of stretch, but this would be really nice for a shirt or something like that. But I really like that one. So again, it was in that $15 section. And again, another woven, another darker burgundy color, mechanical stretch. So not a lot of stretch, but a big enough piece that I would be able to get a shirt or something out of it, even if it was just a tank top. This one, again, I just like it because I kind of like the colors. A little bit of stretch, not a lot. So mostly mechanical, so kind of a two-way stretch, but it's just a nice floral gray and white print. Again, this is another pretty good sized piece where I would be able to get a decent sized top or even possibly a skirt out of this one. This one, I honestly have no idea what it is. I just thought it was kind of cool. It's a little bit of a Southwestern type pattern, not a lot of stretch to it, but I just thought it was kind of a nifty pattern. And again, there's enough to make maybe a shirt or a tank top in this section. And that was kind of the neat thing too, was looking at some of the different fabrics. And there were a lot of solids, but at the same time, there was a lot of different prints, kind of like this one. I believe this one is a knit, little bit of stretch, not tons, but again, enough to make a top out of, which is what I really like to do. I do a lot of jeans and then tank tops and things like that. And this one, I think I saw it on the first day that we went, and I decided not to get it because it's not really a very big piece, but it was still there on Sunday when it was half off. So I'm like, you know what the heck, I'm just gonna go ahead and get it. This one is a little bit more silky, so I'm not sure if it's kind of a little bit of a satin type material or a satin type fabric, but I just thought it was kind of nice, and there's probably just enough that I would be able to get hopefully a shirt or something out of it. And if worse comes to worse, I can always make a scarf. So that is one of the bags. And then again, went back on Sunday and got a second bag, found some more items that I really liked. This one, I believe, again, is a swimsuit or workout type material, kind of an athleisure is what they considered, but it's a little bit of like feathers, kind of a snakeskin or dragon scale with, kind of a peacock feather type pattern to it that I really liked. And again, there might be enough to do, I don't know if I could get a full swimsuit out of what I have, because I think there's only a yard, maybe 1.5 yards, but again, it'd be enough to maybe make a pair of shorts or something. So another kind of a knit, I think a little bit of quite a bit of two-way stretch, but not a lot going the other way. Just kind of a nice pattern. This one would probably have to be lined when you stretch it out. It's pretty, I don't know if it's kind of easy to tell or not, but it's kind of sheer when it starts to get pretty stretched out. I had a really great time with some of these. So again, kind of a paisley, a little bit more of a stretch knit. This was a little bit of a larger piece. Again, some nice four-way stretch. And again, I just thought this was a really pretty fabric. It was kind of fun. My mom and I were almost fighting over some of the fabrics because we've discovered we have similar tastes in color, and I actually found a fabric that I really liked and she liked it too, so I went ahead and gave it to her and let her have it. So again, just kind of different fabrics, and some of them you can see that, you know, they've used it for something and they decided, you know, don't want it anymore. I made what I wanted. And then they just are nice and able to donate it. This is a larger piece, a little bit more of a slippery type fabric. Not really any stretch, mostly mechanical stretch. And again, you know, this one was just originally from Joann Fabrics, which there's nothing wrong with that. I get a lot of my stuff from Joann's, or at least I did. And that's one of the reasons I was so excited about this textile sale, is because I was able to, you know, kind of increase my stash. I was able to stock up and get a little bit more fabric going. Another kind of woven here. So again, not a lot of stretch, a little bit more of a slippery type woven, which that's something that I'm going to have to start working on and getting better at, is trying to work on dealing with some of the more slippery type fabrics. I've read that you can do, a lot of people will do like a spray starch kind of thing, because it'll stiffen up the fabric and then you can just wash it, and it works out for a lot of people. This one is just a really basic, kind of a nice rayon. This one was actually labeled. So rayon, about 58 inches, and then about a 1 3/8 yard. So again, that's kind of enough for me to do a tank top, which I wear tons of in the summer. This is another kind of a more drapey fabric. You can see it's got pretty good drape, little bit sheer and see-through, but just kind of a neat pattern. And again, not a lot of fabric for this one, but still kind of nice. And then the last one is, this is a polyester blue patterned, 45 inches wide and about 1 3/4 of a yard. I haven't really looked at this one fully. Some of them, you actually find out that, you know, you get farther down and you see that there's a tear in it or something like that. But most of the time you can kind of work around that and lay out your pattern without, and manage to avoid to skip that little tear or that little section. Put that back on there. I think I've got a couple more. Yeah, so I believe this one was also one that I managed to get into the bag. 2.5 yards, and this one has a little bit of a suede feel to it. Again, mechanical stretch, not a lot, but most of these were fairly accurate with the labeling. So this is about 2.5 yards, and it's just a nice kind of a burgundy-ish color. I definitely have like favorite colors. This is a brown stretch twill, so a little bit of stretch, not a ton, but just enough. And this one is nice because it says it's 1.5 yards and it's 60 inches wide. It was sourced from S.R. Harris, which if you've never been to S.R. Harris up in Brooklyn Park or in Burnsville, I absolutely encourage you to go. It's wonderful. We actually went on Sunday after we went to the garage sale. We actually stopped and spent about 1.5 hours at S.R. Harris looking, and this one's just a nice brown stretch twill, so I could make a pair of pants or capris out of this with what I have available. In addition to the $15 a bag sale, they also had the best fabrics where you actually bought the pieces and they had those individually marked and priced. For example, this one is 2.5 yards. It's a stretch knit. It's a really nice fabric. I just love the color, and it's lightweight, so it would be really good for a summer dress or a skirt. And this one was $12. So if you think about it, that's really only about $5 or $6 a yard, which is an amazing price considering when stuff is not on sale, you're easily spending, you know, $15 to $20 a yard depending on the fabric. So just a nice, good, big chunk of fabric there. I also got this one. This one says it's 54 inches wide. It's a rayon, 3 1/3 yards, $18. I don't think this is a challis. I think this is just a nice woven fabric, but again, just a nice shirt, top or skirt. And if it's, I don't know for sure if it's the 3.5 yards, but if it is, then that is absolutely enough to get a nice shirt out of it, or even a skirt. My mom got a boucle, which was kind of a burgundy type color, and it was $30 for 3 yards. So $10 a yard for a boucle is an amazing price. She also got a nice wool bottom weight fabric that was in the, she put it in her $15 bag on Sunday. So she actually got it. If you think about it, if it's $7.50 for a bag, how many yards you get? I mean, if you're paying $1 a yard, that's probably a little bit high. So she was able to get that, and it did have a little bit of discoloration where the folds are, but we got some woolite and we're going to try to wash it and see what happens. In addition to fabric, they have cross stitch and embroidery supplies, patterns, books, all kinds of different things. And the first day that we went, the patterns were 4 for $1, and then when we went on the half price sale day, it was 5 for $1. And it's kind of nice. I'll just kind of look through a few of these patterns and just show you some of them. But some of them are, they have them listed under Vogue. They had men's, they had upholstery or home care. They did modern, they did vintage, they did children. So they really did a good job of sorting everything and kind of organizing everything to make it a little bit easier for you. Because I was specifically looking for men's swim trunks, and I actually managed to find a pattern for it. It was like the third pattern in the men's box. But so this is kind of an athleisure wear. This is a little bit of an older one. And just some of the different patterns that I found. And the nice thing is a lot of these patterns have never been cut. So people got them and thought, hey, I'm going to make this pattern. And for whatever reason, they never did. So you were actually able to, you get these patterns that are brand new that nobody has ever used or cut through. So I think it was, like I said, 4 for $1 on the first day. And then wound up being 5 for $1 after that. So got a couple of men's ones, kind of a board short. My husband and I do periodically go to the Renaissance Festival, so I thought that would be kind of a fun one to do. I'm trying to get some more of these. If you've never done this, Palmer Pletch. I am actually doing a class with my mom in September, one of the 4-day kind of intensives for pattern fitting, and we're really looking forward to it. So got some of these. And then I also got a few Vogue ones. So my mom is actually doing an online class with Sandra Betzina right now, and it's absolutely wonderful. So we found some of her patterns that she's designed, and some other people who have done really good with designing patterns and things like that. I also managed to find a couple of books that I was really interested in. The first one was the Reader's Digest Complete Guide to Sewing, and this is actually really cool because it really covers waistlines and belts, and all my fabric just fell over off of the table. Pockets, inside pockets, all the different kinds of pockets, so different techniques. And then the second one that I got, if you know who Nancy Zeman is, 10, 20, 30 minutes to sew, and different tips for sergers and doing ribbing and neck binding and elastic casings for sleeves. Just a little bit of everything. And I've only done a couple of patterns, but I did use her technique for doing the pin and pivot, if you know what that is. And that has helped me a ton, because when I look at some of these patterns and you look at the different sizes, well, my bust size is a 38, but my waist size is more like a 42. And then, you know, my hips are in there too. So it winds up being very tricky when you're doing certain things, when you're a range of sizes. And so I was able to use her techniques for doing a full bust adjustment, and it actually really helped out quite a bit. So I was really happy to see this particular book. And actually somebody asked on Sunday, it asked if anybody had found any of Nancy Zeman's books. And I was like, well, I found one on Friday and managed to pick it up. So I thought that was pretty cool. Couple things that I'm not showing is, let's see if I've got one. I actually wound up picking up 4 rolls of fabric, not like a bolt like you normally see, but 4 rolls, like the big tubes you usually see upholstery fabric on. I picked up 4 of those, and one of them I did end up taking it off of the roll because it'll take up less space, and the roll was in really bad shape. But this is that fabric, so it's a really nice stretch, good 4-way stretch, and I just really kind of like the pattern. It's going to be really hot, so this is a good one to make a skirt or maybe a pair of like palazzo pants or a loose fitting kind of a drapey top. But it's definitely going to be long sleeve or a longer dress or pants, because it's a really kind of a heavy material and it's going to be really warm. I also found a royal blue athletic wear type fabric, and it's a huge roll. And my mom and I just looked and thought, do I really need this much? But everything was half off, so that big huge roll was like $4, I think, and I don't know how many yards of fabric were on it. And then I got another one that I believe is kind of a it's not a French terry knit. I want to say maybe it's like an ITY or a DTY type of knit in a tie-dye purpley color. Again, huge roll. Originally price was $15. I got it on Sunday, so it was $7.50. I mean, I was looking at probably 50 cents a yard by the time I got done with that. And then I found another one that was a very lightweight, possibly upholstery type fabric. There wasn't a lot left on it, but I got that because it's lightweight enough that you could make a vest or something like that using it. So I was just really happy to find that. And the first day, when everything was regular price, my mom and I together spent $176, I think, and that was including her $30 boucle that she picked up, and we each had a $15 bag, and we each got a bunch of patterns. So that's really a good price for everything we got, because this is just my stuff. This isn't including any of hers. And then the Sunday that was half price, we spent $51, and that's it. And we each got another $15 bag, which of course those were $7.50. Picked up a few more patterns that we liked, and a couple of other items. So really, for everything that the two of us got, we really didn't spend that much money. So it was a really nice thing to do. I enjoyed doing it. I will say Sunday was very busy. We got there, started at 10. We got there at 10:40. And we didn't probably get in there till 11 because there was a line outside that actually went fairly quickly. But as soon as we got inside, it was very busy. It was very packed. It was a little bit congested. The people who had gotten there early were starting to be in line to check out. And of course, the checkout line was down and then kind of doubled back. And it was a little bit crazy. But the other nice thing is they have an area where you can stash your stash. So if you find a couple of the big rolls like I did, or you have a couple of bags, all you have to do is go back there, make sure your name is on it, and they will hold your items for you, so you're not trying to carry around all of these things while you're walking around looking at fabric. So that was a really nice benefit or bonus that they had going. I will say I will probably go to the sale again. I don't know if I'll do one every 6 months, but I will definitely go at least once a year whenever I need to focus on my stash or whenever I'm looking for more patterns. They do also have sewing machines, so if anybody's looking for sewing machines, and they had, a lot of them were older, but they did have everything from older singers in the case and in the table, all the way up to, you know, an older style of a genome, some brothers. I mean, it's a little bit of everything, but they had quite a few tables of, you know, sewing machines and things like that. So it's a little bit of everything. They did have, I don't do any knitting or crochet or anything like that, but they did have a lot of yarn. They did have some batting and polyfill and things like that. So it's anything to do with textile arts, pretty much. You could go in and find items for it. But I had a lot of people asking me about it and asking what I got. And so I just kind of wanted to show everybody some of the different stuff. And that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions about the textile sale, I can try to tell you as much as I can about it, or my experience about it. Or if you have any other questions or want more information, I will try to put it down in the notes. But I hope that was semi-interesting for you and something that you might consider doing in the future. I hope you have a wonderful day and enjoy sewing. Bye.